Hey, how's it going everyone, and welcome back. I'm Martin, and here is your guide for this week's Vault of Glass challenge mode. The challenges here aren't too difficult. Some people may struggle a little bit at first with Atheon, but overall not too bad. Managed to knock out the raid on all three characters in just a few hours with little to no problems really. It's more just about timing, paying attention, and having good communication with your team. So the first challenge is to kill the Templar without it teleporting. There are two blocks that it can teleport to, one on the left side and one on the right side. One slight change to this fight is the way oracles work. Normally when you missed an oracle, you'll be marked and everybody would just have to cleanse with the relic holder. Now instead you just wipe, so if you miss an oracle, you all wipe, there's no cleansing. You should only have to face two pairs of oracles, and that's before you start the Templar fight, whilst you're waiting for the super to charge on the relic. Once you take down the Templar shields and really start the fight, you shouldn't have to deal with any more oracles. One of the biggest things you have to be careful of during this fight is ads, because things can get really hectic really fast. And every time you prevent the Templar from teleporting, he calls in more Minotaurs, and those are the ones that can really mess you up if you don't kill them fast enough. The Harpies are pretty easy to kill, but they move fast and can overwhelm you. To prevent the Templar from teleporting, you have to stand in the position where he's going to teleport to. On the left and right side, whenever he's going to teleport, you'll see two rings appear on top of the blocks, and you've got to stand inside those rings. When you stood inside it, you'll know it's working because the ring will turn from red to white. And you've got to stand in it long enough until the ring disappears, otherwise if you get off it early, the Templar can still have a chance of teleporting there. So you gotta stand there for a good few seconds, and this is where problems can also arise. Luckily the relic does have a shield ability, so you can use that to block incoming damage, but it's not going to last long enough. It's not going to last the entire duration to prevent a teleport, and you will have to wait for it to recharge. And this is where Defender Titans can come in extremely handy. Now coincidentally when we did this, we had two of each class on our fire team. 2 Titans, 2 Hunters, 2 Warlocks. So the way we did this, we had 3 people on either side. You can't all just bunch up on one side with this. We had 1 Defender Titan on each side, and their job was to constantly put Blessing of Light bubbles up whenever they could on the teleport point, so that the relic holder could run into the bubble and safely sit inside the teleport point until it went away, because the Templar will focus you and absolutely maul you with explosions, and the splash damage is ridiculous. So having those defender bubbles constantly going up is an absolute lifesaver. It's not required to do this, but when we did this we had our Warlock carry the relic because if they died they could just self-res, and we had the relic holder constantly going for the teleport points instead of somebody else. So the relic holder's job for the most part is to be preventing those teleports. Everybody else's job is to either be focusing massive damage on the boss or dealing with ads. Unfortunately, because of how hectic this fight can get, you can't really be doing one or the other. Everybody needs to be doing damage to the boss, so you kind of just need to learn how to juggle between damaging the boss and also keeping ads under control. For me, I found that rockets were the best choice of heavy for this just because you can just quickly fire off rockets and forget about them and still do a lot of damage with them, whereas something like a machine gun, you have to stand there and unload the entire mag. And that can be valuable time that could be spent either clearing up ads so you can gain super energy to put up those bubbles or fire tethers at the boss, or switching to a sniper rifle and quickly unloading sniper rounds. Onto the Atheon challenge now. This one is considerably more difficult than the first one due to the fact that if somebody dies, you have to wipe. So the challenge for Atheon is that each player needs to kill 1 oracle when you teleport. Now when Atheon teleports people, he only teleports 3 people. So the 3 people on the outside who didn't get teleported, open the portal as fast as you can, and once the first 3 people that were teleported have killed an oracle each, the other 3 must then take their turns killing an oracle. So when we did this, when one person killed an oracle, they would then leave the portal and switch out with somebody that was on the outside. People on the outside will really need to listen to callouts and pay attention to the feed in the bottom left because that will tell you when somebody has killed an oracle. So as you just saw in the gameplay, I killed that first oracle, then immediately went to the teleporter and left while somebody from the outside switched out with me. Now the way we did this, I'll admit, was a little bit messy because every time somebody would leave the portal they would leave blind and wouldn't be able to see where they was going, so they'll just have to blindly stand on top of a pillar and wait for the relic holder to come out and cleanse them after everybody else had gotten their oracle kills. But it worked, and that's all that really matters, so it's just whatever really. Although you do have to be really careful of the supplicants when you leave the portal. Supplicants are the ones that look like harpies, but they explode upon death, and they can be an instant kill if you are right next to them. Anyway, once you've done that and everybody's out the portal, go to the middle platform, relic holder must put up their shield, weapons of light, tethers, everything, and do damage to the boss. I do not recommend rockets, because rockets do not go through the relic holder's shield. You'll just end up blowing yourself up. So things like machine guns and sleeper simulant will work for this. When you do use tethers, they also run into the same problem as rockets, in that they will just hit the inside of the relic holder's shield, so you gotta make sure that you jump outside of the shield above it when you fire a tether. I suppose you could do this with rockets as well, but you do run the risk of blowing yourself up, and rockets do also make Atheon move about, which can make it annoying for others to hit the critical spot with snipers and other weapons, so I just wouldn't recommend using rocket launchers at all for this bit. Another recommendation I'd give here is if you have completed the Templar and you got any of the raid primaries by this point, use them for this bit, because all of the Vault of Glass weapons come with a perk called Oracle Disruptor, and these allow you to do more damage to oracles. So I was using Atheon's Epilogue, and I was absolutely melting through oracles, no problem. It was even doing quite some decent damage to Atheon as well after I'd run out of special and heavy ammo. Also, just a reminder, don't use supers against Atheon such as Sunbreaker, Golden Gun, etc, because supers aren't affected by the Time's Vengeance buff that you get. Now, it is actually possible to one-cycle Atheon if you do enough damage, but just to be safe, we did it in 2. If you're fast enough and able to nail the strategy, then go for it. In one of our runs, we came extremely close to one-cycling him, but he had 5% health left. Anyway, those are the challenges. I hope that you found this video useful and informative. If you're new around here, be sure to subscribe. I'll have more videos on the way soon, as well as lots of Destiny 2 coverage. As always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll talk to you next time.